This is my 2012 Husqavarnia TE310. This is what happens when you try to start it. Almost wants to go, but it doesn't quite catch. So basically, these things are known for the woodruff keys on the flywheel side to catch and shear. Here's two of them right here. So the flywheel stator is going to be on the left side of your bike here. These woodruff keys go in the tapered shaft, and I've actually ended up shearing 4 of them. So there's not much information about these online, that's why I'm making this video. But you can buy the woodruff keys for about $5.50 a piece. I had to order mine out of Illinois, Falls Cycle. But it's very common for them to shear. There's not much you can do about it. There's the one thing you can do about it is you can take some valve lapping compound, grinding compound, and you put it on there and grind all the coatings off, and that's what makes them shear. So once you get your bike laid over on its side, we're gonna need to get rid of the shifter arm as well as the left side case cover. To get the case cover off, you're gonna need an S24 Allen head bit, and then to get the shifter off, you're gonna need the closed side of an 8mm wrench. So once you get the bolts out, it's easiest just to set the cover up here off to the side. Make sure you keep your gasket in good condition. The bolts do go in this order. I'll go back over that later. But in order to get this flywheel off, we're going to need to use a size 17 impact socket, and we're going to need to pull that off. So I've got that cover off here, and I got the key turned. I'll show you how it's just the starter comes down that worm gear and just spins it on that shaft. So, and that's why it won't start. There's basically no flywheel since that woodruff key sheared off. So generally, when these come off, they're pretty easy to get off since the woodruff key did snap and they're already spinning on there. If you have a puller, you can use a puller, but I don't have a puller with me today. So if you get a wrench and put it on that worm gear up top, you kind of work that back and forth, and you have somebody else pulling on here, and you can get it off by doing that. It's easier to have 2 people. You can do it with 1, but with 2 people, it's much easier. So after you get everything off, you're going to put some brake clean on a rag. Go along the threads and the tapered part of the shaft. Same width as the inside of the flywheel. So the tapered part right here is what we're going to be putting the valve lapping compound on. So the purpose of the valve grinding compound is we're going to put it on the tapered shaft here, and then the tapered part of the flywheel. I already have some on there. And we're going to grind it back and forth for about 15 to 20 minutes. If you notice, it's pretty shiny. You can see like the reflections of the hammer that I got sitting here. We want to turn it back and forth about 15 to 20 minutes until it becomes dull. Then we'll pull it back off. So now I've got the valve grinding compound in there. You just want to turn back and forth. And you can see how you have to do more than that. A little hard with one hand, but you can see that when you turn it, the shaft shouldn't move. So it's grinding inside of there, and it's taking that coating off that they have on there. So just keep moving it back and forth. You're going to need to turn it more, but I only got one hand right now. So I've been grinding for 20 minutes. You can do 15, 20, whenever it hits that dull color. I had to apply it a couple times. Once you're done, you can pull it back off. Now just kind of clean out all that. Just take a paper towel or something and just pull off all that. Best not to get this anywhere else in the motor, because it is basically little bits of and grits and grinding stuff, so it's gonna do some damage if it gets too far in your engine. So try not to get it anywhere but on the shaft. And you'll notice how it went from that shiny color to this dull color. Make sure you clean out inside of where the woodruff key goes. But you can tell that it's no longer shiny, and that's what you're looking for. And after you clean out the inside of your flywheel, that's what it should look like inside of there too. Okay, so now got everything cleaned off. Make sure you really clean off your threads really good with some brake clean on a towel. Same with your nut. Make sure you clean off that. I cleaned off all the residue, and now it is dull. It used to be shiny, like you can see on the bottom there where it's no longer tapered. It used to be shiny. You want it to be dull. I cleaned off the inside of my flywheel. Still need to wipe off the back here from setting it on the ground. When you're ready, be very careful. You insert this in here. Make sure you do not drop it in the bearing or down any of the holes. So now that I got the flywheel on, if you look down there with the flashlight, you'll be able to see that it's the woodruff key is in there. You're going to want to make sure your threads are clean and dry. And we're going to put a dab of red thread locker on there. And then we're going to torque it down. Just use a impact wrench. Make sure it's on there good, because you do not want that nut to back off. And then we're going to let it sit for 24 hours without oil on it, without turning it over. Do not let it turn over until the thread locker has set. And then after that, you're good to go. So, got it all back together. The torque spec is actually 85 foot-pounds, but the dealership says to go to about 105, 110, or they said just take an air hammer or an impact and just tighten it down. You don't want to go too far, but you want to get it, make sure it's not going to move. Now we can put everything back on. Don't forget. So you're going to be given 6 bolts. There's going to be 2 long ones. The long ones are going to go in the very top and then the very bottom. Then the rest just kind of go in the other holes, and then put those down. Make sure not to get them too tight, but get them tight enough. Now I got everything back together. Shifter, covers on. Everything's good to go. Leave it laying on its side for about 12 hours, or if you drain the oil, you can have it standing up. I like to do it with the oil still in there, because I just put a fresh oil change in it, so there's no point in draining the oil. But yeah, let it be oil free for 12 hours. Try to let it set for 24 hours. And after that, you're ready to go, and you should never have that happen again.